Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video, another stream. We're live. It's a morning stream for me. I got the day off because I gotta go see the dentist in a few hours. So I figured, hey, what the heck? Let's do another video and we'll continue building the F-22 Raptor by Italeri, 1/48 scale. So here we are. What did we do last time? Well, we kind of got fuselage kind of put together a little bit. Got the engines in the back, and that's the first thing I wanted to speak on. If you watched my first video, part one, these little panel things here, I wound up trimming off the little pins that hold these in, and these were sticking up like this. Okay, so these were not flat, laying flat like this, they were sticking up. And I had used these little pegs. I cut these off and I stuck them on there to give them a little more support so that they weren't just only being held on by the tip. Why did I do that? Because when I was putting this in, it wanted to have a nice little gap at the tip of the, basically there'd be a gap at these two little points, right? It was sitting like this, okay? And that's not the way the plane looks, and I'm going to show you why there should not be a gap. The F-22 plane does not have any gaps in its engine in that spot, and I'm going to show you right here. Okay, so the gaps on the model, they would have been right here at the tip. It would have been open there and here, and there isn't any on this plane, clearly. Okay, so I had to do something. So I put them in there and they were sitting up like this. But then in just test fitting the fuselage together, having them at those angles in order to get rid of that tip, it actually closed off the engine. It was like they were, when you put them together, they're now like this. And you actually couldn't see, there was just a tiny little slit in between them. So I wound up taking them off, shaving them down really thin, and then I bent them so that they'll fit. And I glued them down so that they actually follow the contour of the fuselage. And then put it all back together. And now when I put it together, the engines are actually, you can actually see in there. Now, of course, it's a little dark, so it's kind of hard to actually see. Let me turn on my other light here. Let's turn this one off, and turn this one on. So now you should be able to, you can kind of see inside the engine there. Oh yeah, as it goes blurry on me. Anyway, so there you go. So, and doing so, I've eliminated the little stupid gap that it wanted to create here and here, because it's not supposed to be a gap. So there we go. So that's fixed. That's all ready to go. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to look at was closing up the engine bays and the landing gear bays. So I decided to take the landing gear bays off the trees and test fit, and they actually go together pretty good. As you can tell, while the molding isn't perfect, it's not horrible. I've had worse. There's quite a big gap here that I'm going to have to fill in because that looks pretty bad. Oops. But it's not the end of the world. It's, as far as gaps go on the landing gear bay doors, it's not too bad. I'll have to fill in a little bit. I'll put some putty in there and then maybe rescribe the lines if I need to. It's not too bad. So what I want to do now is check out the engine bay doors. Or what am I talking about? Engine bay doors. The weapons. That's the word I was looking for. Weapons. Weapon bay doors. That's going to be all these guys here. So let's see how these guys look. if these look really terrible, I could have the weapon bay doors open while the landing gear is up. That could be a potential option. And it's going to be all these little fins too. All right. What's wrong with you? Why don't you? There we go. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for the weapon bay doors. Now, obviously, they've got this designed to be glued on in such a way, like, I don't know which way these go. Maybe like this, or like this, I guess. So maybe like this, or something like that. And that would be how they want it displayed. But we've got to trim all this off, which in a sense kind of is like, oh, that's a bit dangerous to do. I don't want to go crazy with it. Just now determining which side is which. So I guess this would go like that. Now, see what they've done is they've got this little extra cutout here, but they don't have a panel to go there. So although this would fit and it would close up pretty good, I don't have a panel to go across in here and fill in this gap. So this definitely is going here like this. Maybe I have the lower weapon bay open and I close the upper. Let's take a look at how this looks on the upper side. Definitely doesn't go like that. So the upper, these side ones, they are two pieces. So they would go together. I could potentially glue them together like this first, and then attempt to put them in. They haven't molded it very good. So whereas the landing gear bay doors, they don't look so bad, the weapon bay doors, they're not meant to be closed at all. So we are going to display them open, just because, you know, I'll show you here. They have the molds nice and crisp, sharp lines here on the edges of these. The molding on the actual fuselage are quite rounded in comparison. If I just stick this up there against there, you can see that doesn't really line up. Try and get it at the camera angle. That doesn't line up really at all, and just looks terrible, right? So weapons will be open and displayed. So yeah, there we go. That's what we're going to be doing, but we're not at the stage of actually doing that yet. So I'll just put these aside for now, and I'm obviously going to have to spray paint some white in there, and to get that done. I don't want to go crazy with my overspray on the white, so what I'm going to do is kind of mask off a little bit on this, and I'll put a couple of coats of white in here, and then we can move on. Like I said, I'm going to be painting this whole thing anyway, so it doesn't matter if I got a whole bunch of overspray on the white, but this just will just kind of help with not having to well, it really makes no difference. But I don't know, if I feel a bit better just masking it off. It makes me feel better, so let me do it, okay? Okay. So, let's get my stuff out of the way here so I can paint. Okay, one coat, done. Now, in the meantime, I can kind of start getting the fins ready and stuff. And at the same time, I get to throw away this tree. We got some active planes today at the airport. It's nice and looks like the sun's going to be out today a little bit, which will be it's nice springtime and everything. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds chirping out there. It's definitely springtime in the neighborhood. I was watching a video on YouTube of a guy building the Academy version of this plane. They're 1/48 scale, and definitely a better model than this one. Academy definitely put in a lot more detail on their version of this plane than Italeri did. And of course, I built the Hasegawa version of this plane about a year and a half ago. It was before I even started recording any videos or anything like that. And to be honest, I had a lot less modeling skill a year and a half ago than I do today. Not that I have any great skill now, but I definitely have improved in the last year and a half. And not just by mere skills, but the knowledge and the products that are available really help out with building these things. Really helps out. Come on, you lined up before. Line up again. The pin's not lining up here. This is as bad as a Revell kit. Holy crap. You gotta put the wings together and the pins don't line up. I need to do a little bit more glue because I pulled it apart a couple of times to clean up that pin. And I don't want to hold it for 5 minutes, so I'm just going to grab one of my little clips. And hopefully it will stay on here. And it won't, so I'm just going to hold it. Admittedly, this model has been a little bit of a challenge for my patients. Would I recommend this one? No, I would not recommend the Italeri version of the F-22 Raptor. So if I was really wanting to build this and have like a really super nice display model, I would either buy the Hasegawa kit or even the Academy kit. From what I saw on the guy's video of building the Academy kit, the air intakes looked like he had a bit of a challenge and he had to do some filling in with some putty and some sanding to get them to look nice and conformed. So with that being said, would I buy the Academy kit? Maybe. The Academy kit, I guess, I would be my number 2 choice. Basically because I've built the Hasegawa kit, and the Hasegawa kit is a nice kit. I didn't really have any issues building it. And of course, I didn't use any putty or anything. I was just looking at it earlier this morning, just having a look at it. And I didn't really do any putty filling in at all on it. And it looks pretty good. Sitting on the shelf, it's don't really have any complaints, other than maybe I didn't quite use the exact shade of of the light gray colors. What do I mean by that? Well, around a lot of the panels on the F-22, you've got this super light gray. It runs all along here. There's going to be some light gray trim along here and around here, along this total around the tail fins. There's a super light gray, and at the time I was finding a lot of difficulty finding that super light gray in the Tamiya spray paint, and that's why I have so many. I've got a plethora of Tamiya gray paint, because I was trying to find it and I couldn't. because basically I was trying to find this shade of gray in the Tamiya, and I couldn't at the time. I have discovered this one, AS16 light gray USAF. That's what I'm going to be using on this, and as you can see, pardon me, as you can see, it is lighter than this, right? So I'm going to be using that color. Anyway, there's our tail fins. They're going to go like this. If they'll fit, there we go. And then I'm going to go like that. And there you go. So there's done. My white should be doing another coat here. And that ought to do her for that. So now we've got a nice white engine bay. With only a little bit of overspray. An engine bay. Why do I keep calling it engine bay? I don't know. It's too early. I've only had, normally I've had like 3 cups of coffee by now. But today, well, that's when I'm at work though. But today I've only had one just little normal cup of coffee, and so maybe I'm not awake yet. And that's why I keep calling the weapons bay the engine bay. Anyway, so that's that, and that's, I still got overspray over on the wing here. I don't really care though. I don't care. Well, I do. Otherwise I wouldn't have even tried. Anyway, I'm going to use a little bit of putty here, and we're going to fill in this gap right here for future sanding. Just so it doesn't look so horrible. So I will be sanding, I'll be doing some work on this to get it looking a little bit nicer. So once I start sanding on it, I want to have a little bit of substance in there behind it. The nice thing about this putty is you can kind of wipe away the excess. So it doesn't dry super fast. Like I found the Tamiya, the regular gray Tamiya putty, it dries so fast it's ridiculous, and it's thick. And for those reasons I'm not a huge fan of it. So I'm not interested in totally getting rid of the panel lines on this. I just want it so that there's not such a clear gaping hole, if that makes any sense. For the most part, it's not bad, but another thing I like about this stuff, this putty is water soluble. This is the Vallejo plastic putty. So the other thing that's kind of nice about this is it's water soluble. So I can just go in it and lick my finger and wipe it down to get rid of the excess. water soluble does not mean it's healthy. So make sure your finger's clean if you're going to lick it. And this way I don't have to won't have so much sanding to do later, because now I've cleaned it all up in there. And that's that. So can let that dry for, well, I don't know, for hours on end before I start working with it. I want to hit this in here with some gunmetal. Well, I'll do the light gunmetal. Where are we here with my light gunmetal? Just a little bit easier than doing it by hand. So we've got that one, and then we'll do the same on this side. I think one coat's going to be good enough, because you're not really going to be seeing in there very much anyway. So it should be just fine. Okay, so with that done, and those are there, and that's over there, and what are we doing next? Well, they want us to actually put the two halves of the fuselage together and assemble the flaps. So, because I just painted these, let's just leave those for a minute or two. And let's take a look at the flaps. So we want the D tree, we want 26, 7, 8, and 9. Here's the D. 26 and 28, 29 and 27. Okay. That's 26. I'm going to kind of have them in numerical order here. 27. 28. And 29. Okay. So let's clean these up. Six done. Seven. 28. 29. Okay. So 27 and 28 and 26 and 29. And that's how they should go together. Look at it flashing on there. Yeah, fits all right. The fit is pretty good on these. You don't really have to hold it at all. So no real issues of having to clamp down or tape it down to make sure there's no gaps. So these are pretty good. No complaints on the fins. At all. Works pretty good. It's going to be interesting. It looks like they want me to put them in there before I put the two halves together, which would indicate that these are going to be not glued and that you can actually put them in any position you want. Although at the same time they don't tell me to not glue anything. And now looking at this, they are telling me that they've designed this to be alternatively closed with the weapon bays by trimming these pieces off. And there are two little side pieces. So hey, it shows that it pays to look at the instructions. Let's see, my gunmetal is dry. So what are they doing here? Are we going this way? I think we do. Yes. So that goes like this. And that goes like this. Although the fit on here is not the greatest. It really kind of binds on the edge here. As you can see, it wants to pivot there. And there we go. But if when I got it in there, it doesn't sit proper. It's going to be extreme minimal amount of movement, if any. And I might wind up having to glue it after all. Anyway, I think we're ready to put the two halves together. So, yeah, we're all dry here. We are dry here. Okay, let's put it together. Lots of spots to glue. So I'll just start off with a nice dab all the way along here. And I'll fill in the pinholes where this thing's going to be pinned together. And try and if I was smarter, I would have prepared some tape first. Now I've got spots that have come apart and they need to be glued again. Of course, at the back here, it doesn't want to stay together quite as nice as I thought. See what I mean? The fitting here is not the best. This side doesn't seem to be so bad. Although, as soon as I try to put the flap in a downward position, it wants to spread the wing apart, which is not good. And then this side is actually hitting here. See that? And as soon as I do that, it creates a huge gap here, right here. So that's not great fitment at all there, Italeri. So I'm going to get a couple of pieces of tape ready. Because we're not fitting all too good here. So I need to redo the glue. Redo the glue! Okay. So although I'm having to tape it to hold it, it's not a huge amount of pressure I'm requiring. So that's good. I'll give it that. I've definitely had worse fittings of fuselages before, where I pretty much had to put a clamp on it to hold it. And that's never any fun. For the middle, though, I might actually use my clamp because I can't really get the tape in there. Well, I might be able to. If I use a long enough piece of tape. Or I just hold it. But I would prefer tape, because then I can just leave it. So I'm going to tape it if I can. I think I got it. Should be good. Should be good. Now I want to glue on here where that connects, just to make sure it stays together. Okay, I'm going to have to hold this because I got to put a little bit of a weird bit of pressure on it just to let it make it stay. So, although they're giving me the option to have the weapons bays closed, it doesn't look good. Maybe the bottom ones, maybe I'll just leave the two side ones open where the sidewinders are, and have the very bottom ones closed, have these ones closed here, and then have these two open here and here, and have the sidewinders kind of poking out. I don't know. I guess I still have to think about it a little bit before I make an actual decision on it. Okay, are you going to hold? Yeah, you can hold. Good. So that's one side. This side I need to do. But I put the tape in the way. So hold this side down. Of course, this is the underside of the plane, which is not going to be really held. So I know I had it out of the camera view. It's just this line along here where it connects, and on this side. Just wanting to make sure this is glued together because it's not really supposed to be, I don't think it's supposed to be a panel line there. So it looks like our panel line comes along here and then goes like this to here. But they, of course, they don't line up. So maybe it is supposed to be a panel line. Yeah, this comes along here like this. It comes to here, stops, and then you go just 1 millimeter over and continue the line. And it's the same on this side. Come here, and it stops, and then you come a little millimeter this way, and then you got a panel line. Now, although the panel lines on here, they're okay. Like, they're not the best. They're not the sharpest panel lines. So I think I am going to scribe them a little bit to just to get them a little deeper. I do have my little scribing tool here for doing that, and so I can do that. You can hold. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I don't want to manipulate this thing too much while the glue is setting. I want to give the glue enough time to really set properly. As predicted, I've got a big panel line here, big gap where it just didn't, it doesn't want to, and it's physically, you can feel it, it's raised up, and that's not good. So I'm going to see if I can put some glue on there and get it to settle down a little bit and be a little more flush. There is a peg right in the middle that it's supposed to stay. So I'm putting a little pressure in the middle here to hopefully get this to settle, to actually stay down. I would prefer to just put my clamp on it and let it sit for 5 minutes, but at least by holding it myself, I put the exact amount of pressure in the right spots that that I want. I'm definitely going to put some putty on that line because it's too big. Alternatively, I could have used some CA glue, and of course, you know, then it dries a lot faster, but we'll see. If I let this go, it's not bad. I think I got it good enough. Yeah, it's better anyway. It's definitely better. So now I need to just let that sit and not really do anything more to it. So with that being said, what is on the next page? Installation of our missiles is next. And that's what it's all about for the next couple of pages. So that's going to have to be next time. Because right now it's all about letting this dry and settle and set and be nice and strong for the next time. After this is sit for a few minutes, I'm just going to add some more glue along the edges here to make sure everything is just nice and held together properly. And then I will put a little bead of more of putty along in there so that this is not just a gaping crack, as you can see clearly in the camera, and fix that up. But you know, it's like I anticipated this right from the start, that there's going to be a huge panel line there that is going to have to be filled in. But anyway, I'm going to call that a day for now. A day for now. It is a day for now. Right now. Yes, right now it is a day. Anyway, thanks guys for watching, and thanks for coming out. Thanks for being so chatty in my chat. That's really just fantastic. Can you tell I'm being sarcastic? Anyway, I want to thank you guys. Thanks for following me. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Why not? Just it doesn't cost you anything. Just go click on the little like button and follow me. And head on over to my Twitch and follow me there, and then you can watch me live. And then head on over to my Instagram and follow me there, and then you can see the still pictures that I put up. And of course, as usual, I'll put the little links down in the little box down below. And yeah, so I'm going to call it a day. We're going to call this done for now. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks again, guys. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one.